Vrindavan, that place known as Ramanreji. In Ramanreji, that place where Prabhu desired a temple, just a few feet from where we're sitting right now, our very dear Vibhu Chaitanya left this world, with all the devotees having a wonderful kirtan in his room. So, for that wonderful Vaishnava, we gathered here to glorify him and remember our fond remembrances of him. Everybody loved Vibhu Chaitanya, and he was very favored of all the devotees. He wasn't like a big, at least we never saw him giving any class or anything. He was always just doing his service, which was cooking for Krishna Balaram and chanting, and always chanting in a very sweet melody. But that also is big teaching. Somebody can be steady in their service year after year. We saw him. He would get up early in the morning, before everyone else, 2:30. He would already be in the kitchen by 3:30. He would only come out with his little packet of Mahaprasad, go to his room, take prasad, share it with the birds. And then by 4 o'clock he was back in the kitchen. He was there till late in the evening. So that also is a very big preaching. He wasn't your star devotee like we know, all the big preachers we know. But he was a jewel for all the devotees of Krishna Balaram, and he was kept hidden here. And we're all keeping him within our hearts. So tonight we'd like to open up our jewel boxes and reveal all of our wonderful jewel-like pastimes that we had with Vibhu Chaitanya. So I think I would like to first of all call on Dhanadhar Swami Maharaj, give his remembrances of Vibhu Chaitanya. Because all these people were here long before me, they knew him long before they knew more of the history.
What do you do? Yeah.
That's what
The microphone doesn't reach yet.
Okay. I was reading today the story of Akura going to Vrindavan, and he was wondering how he was so fortunate. What austerities has he performed? What holy play? What has he done to deserve that? And the conclusion was, it can only be the blessings of a devotee. So I think all of us feel, even us that are still here for some reason or another, how fortunate we were to be in his presence, and what his blessings of a devotee of that caliber has meant to our life. It may be one of the only reasons, at least, that I'm still here. And I'm sure others feel in the same way. And Dinabandhu was mentioning how he was like the jewel, even though he didn't have, the accoutrements of success that sometimes we attribute to a devotee, maybe falsely attribute to a devotee. So when you said that, I was thinking of the term self-effulgent. And trying to think of, he was actually a self-effulgent devotee. And the symptom of someone who's self-effulgent is that everybody recognizes him. If you give a great class or you lead a great kirtan, you manage a big temple, some people may recognize you and some people may not. And it more or less depends on their proclivities and their tastes. But when someone has that level of bhakti, everybody realizes it. and it becomes Dira Dira Janapriyo Piyakaro Nimatsaro Pujato. That he's dear to everyone. Nimatsaro, and he's worthy of worship because he doesn't have that envy. Nirmatsara, Dharma Projita Kaitavotra Paramo Nimatsara Nasatam. That a devotee is Nimatsara, he doesn't have hate, he doesn't have envy, but that means Dharma Projita Kaitavo. It means he doesn't have fruitive mentality. He doesn't have that mentality that sometimes translates into other things of success, etc. It's just, he just wants to serve. And when you have that mentality, then somehow or other everyone recognizes you. And I remember in the day that he passed away, maybe in the afternoon I went into his room and the doctor showed me, when a person knows he's going to be incapacitated, he writes out his instructions so that no one, when he can't say anything, people have to follow his will. There were 3, but I remember 2 of them. Don't take me out of Vrindavan, and don't let anyone serve me. So you can imagine that kind of level of faith. He had the real faith, the real trust in what is sublime. Prabhupada said faith is unflinching trust in something sublime. And sublimity was service and not being served. And so that was his quality. And as you mentioned, I always thought it was 2 in the morning, but we all know he didn't get out till 10 at night, so it's only a half hour, an hour difference. And serving on those coal stoves and cooking everything, all the preparations and the rajbhog and all the sweets and the particular types of sweets he made that we like, those little brown glazed burfi. And I distinctly remember when he couldn't do that service anymore, and he was walking, I think he was walking up the Gurukul building, I was walking down or something, we crossed paths, and he laughed and he said to me, 6 men. And I understood what he meant. He was doing it all himself, and when he couldn't do it anymore, they had 6 men to do his service. And then we will know about his service of the Charanamrita. And I saw he had 3 services here. One was cooking, one was the Charanamrita, and one was kind of leaving the world. And there was a distinct quality of every one of those services. And I think one thing that bhakti means is that you offer your best. So whatever you do, when you offer your best, it somehow becomes beautiful. When you have a service and you really have bhakti, somehow it becomes beautiful. So the cooking, it was very easy to see what would be beautiful. All those delicious preparations, and we'd all know there was so many difficulties. It wasn't like it was now. I want to offer some, it's wonderfully managed now, the struggles of developing things and the lack of facilities, whatever it is. But one of the things where we always felt that somehow we weren't forgotten is when he would knock on our door when you least expect it, and give you some of the Mahaprasad that he had cooked. And then you kind of felt somehow, this was a sign that you're not worthless, that there's something. And so the cooking obviously was manifest in all those, and he made the kachoris and he made the samosas and everything. So the beauty was easy to see there. Now he's doing the service of giving out the Charanamrita, right? But then we all know somehow his bhakti was in there. And people will tell you how he held people's hands, how he served prasad, how he honored it, how he had little cups, how he had a refrigerator, how that became beautiful. And then, in his last days, he was in his room and he couldn't leave. But his expression of bhakti, it's what is it, ahoite ki apratiyata, it can't be broken. It's causeless. So people will also describe in the last days, he was confined to his room. And it was a shared room, even though he was so senior, sharing with some other people. And the garlands would come in there, and the decorations of the altar that he made, and the gifts he would still be able to give to his...
Pictures there.
What?
Of his room there.
Where's the picture?
Right there behind the table.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the picture was there. So, that was that was our fortune. That and how much he did for the Krishna consciousness movement by inspiring us in what a real Vaishnava is. And so it's an honor to remember him on this day.
1975, end of 1975 from Bombay, I saw many devotees here, especially there were about 4 or 5 Bengali devotees who were all Prabhupada's disciples and staying here. Sachidananda Prabhu is a nice singer, and Prabhu, Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu, and myself, of course. That also was there, he's from Nepal. So from that time, he was in the deity kitchen, cooking for Krishna Balram, making all the offerings, as we would just say, in heard from Maharaj. From morning, early morning till late night, he will cook all the offerings, all the preparations, and also Mangalarti sweets till 10 o'clock or 10:30, 11 o'clock sometimes he will go back to the Brahmacharya ashram. I was his roommate for some time in the inner circle of the guest house. The Brahmacharis were staying. So Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu and myself, sometimes with Prabhas, we used to stay in the Brahmacharya ashram. And whenever he cooked, he would always chant, and he would chant Hare Krishna in different tunes, and some other songs also regarding Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Very pleasingly he would sing all the time. And he said, that was his slogan, that Hate karo kaam, mukhe bolo naam. Means you work with your hands and you chant in your mouth all the time. So one time we were he was very friendly, and I used to joke with him also, because we stayed together, and I also helped him in the deity kitchen cutting vegetables. He was very particular about the way he cooked. He wants in a special way to cut the potatoes or the sabjis. If anybody else cuts in a different way, he doesn't like it. He wants it in his own way. And he would say that, I'm not cooking, it's actually Radharani is cooking for Krishna, and I'm only assisting Radharani in her cooking. That was his mood all the time. He was so dedicated. And one time I said, Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu, you are serving the deity kitchen all the time, but Srila Prabhupada also told us that we have to chant our rounds, 16 rounds every day, but we don't get time. Sometimes I asked him like that. So he said, my service is my chanting. I don't have to chant. I have no time, because from morning till evening I'm busy. But I said, still, we promised during our initiation that we should chant 16 rounds, whatever service we may be doing. So he chastises me, he cuts me off, and he said, just shut up, and you mind your own business, you oil your own machine, like that. Means he was so much dedicated in his service, in his cooking and whatever other service he did later on. He was always absorbed in that mood, and he never left Vrindavan. Since he came, his
He
name
never
was...
left Vrindavan temple.
He had become a temple, in temple premises, yes. Only once he went for, I think, to buy some pots, some utensils for the deity kitchen to Agra or Mathura, just for a few hours or maybe 1 hour or 1.5 hours and during his time, for so many years, and he never left. Many times I requested him to go to the, let us go and take part in Jamuna or go to some Goswami temples for darshan. Let us go, because we used to go after 4 o'clock arati when I was Pujari here with Sachinandan Prabhu and Prabhu. We used to go after 4 o'clock arati for darshan and everything. So sometimes I would request him, please come just for one day, we will go. He said, no, I have my service, this is most important, I cannot leave my service. You all go, I stay back. And he was rejoicing, he was enjoying his service and his mood like that. And one time he had a big heart, he was a gentleman, so sober and so humble, and he had a big noble heart. One time I said, I was joking, I said, Bhagavad Chaitanya Prabhu, if you go to Vrindavan, you write me a letter. And if you go to hell, don't write me. I was just joking like that. And he said, no, it's not like that. If I go to Vrindavan, I will pray for you. And if I go to hell, I will not drag you there. So he had a big heart. He was always like that. He was very kind. And even when before he joined ISKCON, he came to ISKCON. After he took his meal at lunchtime, then after he finished his meal, he would take his plate and go outside his house, and he had some prasad left, the leftover prasad. He will divide in 3 portions, and 1 portion he will throw into the ponds for the aquatics, for the fish and other aquatics too. And 1 portion he will give to the stray dogs, and another portion he will give to the birds and crows and like that. He was so very kind to all living entities, so that they get food. Even when he was staying here in the guest that room, he used to put sugar next to the holes, the ant holes, so that they can. During his last days, I used to go and visit like all other devotees. Many other devotees, whenever they came, Kamal Krishna, many others, they would come and go and see him. In the kitchen also they will go and visit. So here, when I went one time, he said, Prabhu, can you do me a favor? I said, yes. Please tell me, yes, what can I do? Can I do some service, something I can bring for you? You want any Bengali dishes or anything you like? Or puffed rice? They say, okay, you can give me some puffed rice, fried in mustard oil or something. So one day, or maybe a few days, I gave him like that. And then one day he said, can you write all the Gayatri mantras, Srila Prabhupada gave to you and me? I said, yeah, why not? But why? He said, because of my age and I'm getting old and everything, I forgot. I think I'm missing few words or few lines even. So so I wrote down all the Gayatri mantras in Bengali and I gave it to him, and he checked and he said, yes, I was missing a few words from Gayatri mantras. Like whenever I visited, he would give me some gifts, like devotees giving many things like pair of socks or glass for drinking or spoon or something. He would just give me. He would send prasad, Mahaprasad to my house also many times. So he was very affectionate and very kind to all the devotees, and he was always dedicated to Srila Prabhupada. He would glorify Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he would often say that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, but he is covered with golden complexion. He is internally Krishna and externally Gauranga. Like that he would say. And during his last days, whenever I went to see him, he said, I always see, I have many dreams. I don't know why, even after staying and doing so much service, still I get a lot of bad dreams, so many materialistic dreams. So I explained to him whatever I read in the scripture, that that's not so bad, that's, because this shows that your time for going back to God, it is right. It is, we are going back to God, that's for sure. And whatever left over, whatever material desires are there in the heart of a devotee, Krishna exhausts them, finishes them, not not by enjoying grossly, but in the form of dream. And they go away, so that you will have no more material desire in your heart, and you are fit to go back to God. So that's a good sign that you are getting rid of everything, and you are going back to God. There's no doubt about it.
Where was he from? Did he ever?
Oh yes, he's from Titagarh, not 24 Parganas. 24 Parganas is Sialda station, Calcutta Sialda station, maybe 6-7 stations north of Sialda, north of Calcutta. 24 Parganas, a place called Titagarh. He had a grocery shop. Before he joined, he was taking care, he had his family.
How did he come in contact with this guy?
Yes.
How did he come in contact with Prabhu?
Oh, no, I'm not so sure. But when I came, he was already there. And I just came, I think he came to Vrindavan with some people for visiting, and he stayed there or something. He was not happy in his, although he had his family and his grocery shop, he was running that shop, but he was not very happy, he was not liking it so much, and he was chanting, attending some kirtan and everything of his own, and he was very religious minded, always since his childhood, and like that he was such wonderful devotee, we miss him. He was exemplary, all his activities and his dedication, his respect, his to Prabhupada and everything. One time he said, after he took initiation from Prabhupada, actually we took initiation together in the same day, 4th April 1976, here in Vrindavan, in the courtyard. We had a big, huge program, and Srila Prabhupada gave about 65 devotees initiation, 30 or 35 first initiation, or 35 second initiation. And Radha Govinda Maharaj was with us same day, we took initiation. And then Bhakti Prabhu, Prem Pradai, Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu, Shesha got his second initiation, Bhakti Vikas Maharaj got first initiation, and Purushottam Maharaj, Golabhasini Mataji, and like that, Gunarma was there, Bibi Govinda, his name was Ayodhyapati that time, he was also there, Nitai Chand. I still have picture, I have a big picture of that initiation program. So even on that initiation day he was cooking, and there he was helping, and he came for some time. Forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, he said, after the initiation, he said, he asked me, did you give any Guru Dakshina? I said, no, I have nothing, I don't know, I didn't give anything. He said, I gave 1 rupee. I said, why 1 rupee? Why 1 hour you gave 1 rupee? Why not 2 rupees or 5 rupees? Oh yes, this is the picture, yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes. This is the picture of that day. Prabhupada is here. Pushta Krishna Maharaj Panchadravya Maharaj is behind, Harisho is holding the umbrella, and Adikesha Maharaj, there is Gunarnava, and then Nitai Chand is sitting with the Mridanga. We had the kirtan. Nitai Chand was playing the Mridanga. Aksharananda Swami is conducting the fire sacrifice. Shesha is here, and Vibhu Govinda Maharaj, Ajudapati is here. And then this Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, Ranajit Das, Radha Gopal, Purushottam Swami, Golok Vasini Dadivaks is here. Behind Dadivaks is Radha Govinda Maharaj, Prem Prada is here, and next to Prem Prada is myself. I'm sitting here. So it was wonderful on that day. And so I asked him, so he asked me, did you give any Guru Dakshina? I said, no. I said, what did you give? 1 rupee. He said, why 1 rupee? And he explained to me that 1 rupee is equal to 16 annas. In Bengal, in India, 16 annas equals to 1 rupee. And 16 anna, that's a token. But the meaning is that Krishna has 16 attributes. And even the moon has, when it is complete, it has 16 digits. And it's full moon. So it's a token. 1 rupee means we surrender to Guru 100%. 100% we surrender. So that's why he gave 1 rupee Guru Dakshina to Srila Prabhupada. But I didn't give anything that time. I didn't know, but later on I always had this in my mind that I should give some Guru Dakshina to my Guru Maharaj. So taking that lesson from Guru Chaitanya Prabhu, when I took second initiation from Srila Prabhupada in 1976 in Lajpat Nagar, New Delhi, and that time I was always thinking that I would give something to Srila Prabhupada. So, but we were in Nitai Gaur World Traveling Sankirtan Party led by Hamsaduta and Loknath Maharaj. So when we came back, we had no money with us. We were distributing books and everything. We had no money. But I had 1 badge. In those days it was very fashionable. Even now we have badges of Mahaprabhu, Krishna or Prabhupada. So I had 1 badge of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj's face with me. So when I went to take Gayatri Mantra from Srila Prabhupada that evening, we had the fire sacrifice in the morning in the lawn, Lajpat Nagar, and in the evening Omkar's daughter also got second initiation, Sevanandi. On that day, I think Loknath Maharaj, what's his name? Gaur also got. So when my turn came and I went there and I got the mantra and everything. And then when I was coming out, I had that badge in my pocket. So I left it, and just Prabhupada was sitting there. I offered my obeisances, and Prabhupada's big bag was there. So I left. I wanted to put it in the big bag, or I didn't say anything to Prabhupada, but he was looking what I was doing. I took it out from my pocket and I placed it just next to Srila Prabhupada's big bag. And I did my obeisances and came out. So in the next morning, the first thing I was anxiously waiting to see what happened. So next morning after we came back from his morning walk, we had Guru Puja, and Srila Prabhupada was sitting in the classes and I was checking, and I saw that that badge was there on Srila Prabhupada's big bag. So he accepted my very small, ideas like that. So there are other speakers. Anyway, he was a wonderful devotee, and I pray that he blesses me. There is no doubt that he is with Krishna and engaged in Srila Prabhupada's service. He blesses me and blesses all of us so that we can lead our life in a devotional way and dedicate to Srila Prabhupada. Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu ki jai.
For quite a few years before Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu left, I
had a secret desire to be with him when he passed away, left this world, because he was elderly. He couldn't walk, he couldn't straighten his body up due to arthritis. And Krishna kindly fulfilled that desire. And I actually had a desire to be holding his hand while he left this world. So on that last day, from perhaps 2 o'clock until he actually disappeared, I had the fortune to be holding his hand. And as devotees, Maharaj and Prabhu and Prabhu have said, he was a very special devotee and so dedicated to his service. And I always wanted to know the things that he said, but now I heard when you told him about chanting, he said, "Shut up, mind your own business." This is sadhu, the cutting words of a sadhu. He was humble, but not shy. And he wrote also, I think Madhavendra Prabhu translated at least one thing that he wrote, and I would have loved to have that with me. It was translated into English by Madhavendra Prabhu, because it really showed who he was. And when I think about Vibhu Chaitanya, I think of him as, of course, he was very warm-hearted, and he was very, very, very kind. He used to give prasadam. He used to come to our door and sometimes knock, and he'd open the door and he'd just give you some prasadam, or sometimes he'd send some stainless steel with some prasadam in it to your room when you just arrived from the West or something. But when I thought of the quality that he had, that so much struck me and is so rare in this world, he was a simple, no-nonsense devotee. And as Bhumipati Prabhu said, that when he gave that 1 rupee, which signified his total surrender to Srila Prabhupada and to Krishna Balaram Mandir and to his service and to the Krishna consciousness movement, he didn't hold, he simply meant it. He gave that and he never took back anything. He gave it completely, he gave his full heart, and he was fixed in that. He was so strong, such a strongly surrendered, and in that sense simple and no nonsense at all. And he didn't like nonsense, and he didn't like, he knew what it meant to surrender, to be a part of Prabhupada's movement. And in that sense, he was such an ideal disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And because he was such an ideal disciple of Prabhupada, he was an ideal devotee, because he gave everything and didn't want anything in return. His mood was just giving, and he was quite intolerant from what I experienced of the kind of hypocrisy, I'll be straight and call it hypocrisy, that certainly exists in my heart, but that yes, I want to give something to Krishna, I want to surrender fully, but I also want this, and I also want that, and I also want a little bit of this, at least a little bit of something I should get. A little bit of at least some prestige, or at least something. But he was not like that at all. He was straight, he was strict, he was simple, he would do his service, he would every day be at Mangalarti, and after Mangalarti he'd offer his respects to the Tamal tree, and then he'd go sit in one place at the back of Krishna Balaram Mandir where the prasadam stalls are, and he would say his Gayatri with the thread by his heart, and he would sit so seriously, so straight, so tall, so strong. He would sit and say his mantra, and then he would offer his obeisances. He would hold his hands like this as he would say the mantra by his heart. And in that sense, because he wasn't flamboyant, as Dinabandhu Prabhu said and Dandavara said, he wasn't that kind of a leader, but he was no nonsense. And he would speak, and his writings were so simple and straight and decrying any kind of cheating, any kind of taking, anything other than anyavilasita sanya, just giving to Krishna with nothing in return. And in this sense, he was certainly our superior, my superior, and certainly an exemplary devotee. And that is perhaps the most difficult kind of devotee to be. Prabhupada said that is the definition of a leader. One who, if you follow his example, what he does, you will be doing the exact right thing. So Vibhu Chaitanya was a great leader in the Krishna Balaram Mandir by his example and by his writing, but mostly I would like to say by his simple, strict, no-nonsense behavior. Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu ki jai.
Wasn't it that somebody complained about the 16 rounds, or Prabhupada said he just has to cook and chant? That's all.
Yeah. I had heard that also. I had heard it.
As the standard, but he saw the heart of Vibhu Chaitanya, and he saw that complete surrender and complete sincerity, and he adjusted the principles for this soul who was so sincere, fully sincere. That's all I can say. He was fully sincere in his surrender and his service. Now that is a standard, full sincerity. One time Prabhupada was asked, I think at 26th Avenue, I think it was by Brahmananda Prabhu, he was asked about, or perhaps that's such a Maharaj, about this philosopher and this philosopher. Is he Krishna conscious? Is he Krishna conscious? Is this one Krishna conscious? This writer, this philosopher? And Prabhupada said, his reply was, their sincerity is their Krishna consciousness. However sincere someone is, that is their Krishna consciousness. And this soul, who we had the fortune to associate with, and he was one of the foundations of Krishna Balaram. He was 100% sincere, the full ekrubi, the full 16 others sincere, and therefore he was a great leader and a great soul.
I had the amazing good fortune of being able to help in the kitchen with Vibhu Chaitanya, and I consider him one of my spiritual masters of cooking, because when you're a cook, you have to have teachers. So you apprentice to different teachers. Prabhupada gave me different teachers to learn from his sister, from Bhagavad-Gita, and Vibhu Chaitanya was one of those teachers. So I got to watch him, and he trained me how to cook for the deities here, Krishna Balaram, Radha Shastra, Sri Sri Gornitai. And he was training me for a purpose because he had become sick, and for some time he needed someone to replace him. So he had to train me in everything that he did, and I had to learn his technique, and I had to watch everything. And from Prabhupada already I had learned to be completely silent when cooking, silent and alone. That's how Prabhupada had us cook. But when I saw how Vibhu Chaitanya cooked, it was on a completely different level from anything I had ever learned or seen. And even now, although I have to follow what all of my teachers have taught me in cooking, very rarely can I come to that stage where in my cooking I start to chant automatically the way Vibhu Chaitanya did. That comes at a level when you're not even, you're so perfect in what you're doing, you're so, it's so automatic and so natural when you're cooking that you're actually in ecstasy when you're cooking, and automatically the holy name comes out as you're cooking. And only one drop I experienced of that, whereas Vibhu Chaitanya was an ocean of that perfection in his cooking. And therefore, constantly, he was always chanting beautifully. And he would be very careful who he would allow to help him in the kitchen. If he felt that somebody was going to disturb his mood, didn't matter how much help he needed, he wouldn't let them in the kitchen. Sometimes I would send devotees, because he desperately needed help to make up the plates, to cut vegetables. And sometimes for the afternoon offering, he wouldn't be there, he would allow them to cut the fruits. But he would watch like a hawk. One example, there was one boy, he was allowing him to cut the fruit up, because sometimes Vibhu Chaitanya, he just couldn't be there all the time. And the boy, no one knew it, because the boy was alone, but Vibhu Chaitanya caught him. He was, of course you can't offer the bad parts to Krishna, so he would cut out, let's say, the brown part of the banana, but he would cut off half of the banana and keep everything in a bag and hide it behind the refrigerator. And sure enough, Vibhu Chaitanya caught him. And he brought the bag out, and he showed it to me, and he kicked the boy out of the kitchen. He just knew everything about Krishna's kitchen, Radharani's kitchen. And at one point, Prabhupada was very strong here. Because so many devotees started to hang out at the temple. It was when Prabhupada was giving lectures, and this is not a free hotel for crazies and lazies. And he said that he only wants 25 men here. He only wanted 3 pujaris and 1 cook. So that 1 cook was Vibhu Chaitanya. And therefore he did everything, and whoever got the opportunity to help him, they had to come up to his standard. So I'm always aspiring to come to that standard where he was, that standard of intense, absolute, the most condensed ecstasy in cooking. That when you're cooking, you're in so much ecstasy that you're actually, then you start to chant the holy name the way he did. So rarely it comes to me, but I'm always remembering his example as a cook, and aspire to sometime have his association again in the kitchen, and always follow his example as completely devoted to his service to Srimati Radharani and Srila Prabhupada.